Hello, history lovers, and happy Pride Month. I do have another video planned for later this month, hoping to get that one out next week, but I came across a myth I wanted to talk about today in honor of Pride Month. Now, a lot of people have the mistaken idea that the LGBTQ plus community is a recent thing. There were always people who were LGBTQ plus dating way back, and there's a myth about them in ancient Mesopotamia. Now, if you are familiar with mythology in general, there's a good chance you're familiar with the goddess Ishtar. What you might not be as familiar with is Ishtar had a twin sister, Ereshkigal. Now, Ereshkigal was the goddess of death, of course, opposite of Ishtar. So, the problem came about when they both fell in love with the same guy named Dumuzi. Dumuzi loved Ishtar, and Ereshkigal was not happy about that. Given that Ereshkigal is the goddess of death, yeah, you can guess how that one turned out for Dumuzi. Ishtar was not happy about that and said, I'm going to go to the underworld to get my true love back. Well, the problem with that was she had to give up a different article of clothing at each of the 7 gates of the underworld, and those articles of clothing were connected to her power. So by the time she reaches Dumuzi, she's powerless, they're trapped in the underworld, can't leave. And to make things even better, Ereshkigal says, I'm giving you 60 curses besides. Yeah, sisterly rivalry went a bit too far there, to say the least. So you might be wondering what this has to do with Pride Month. Well, with Ishtar trapped in the underworld, nothing was alive on Earth anymore. Things were dying, nothing new was being born. Something's got to be done about this. So the other gods and goddesses go to Enki, who was another god, and said, can you do something to solve this problem? Enki said, I got an idea here. So Enki created, and I hope I'm saying this name right, it's a little hard to pronounce, Asushunamir. Asushunamir was the first non-gender person. And they were so good looking, basically, that they pretty much flirted their way past each of the 7 gates and went to the underworld that way. They were just that good looking. Well, Asushunamir happens to meet Ereshkigal and starts flirting, like, hey, why don't we spend a little time together? And it's all a trick. One that Ereshkigal falls for, long enough for Asushunamir to get the waters of life. Shares the waters of life with Ishtar and Dumuzi, they're out of there, they're safe. Well, Ereshkigal wants to curse Asushunamir for that, not happy at being deceived in love twice, or what Ereshkigal perceived as being perceived in love. I mean, Asushunamir counts as they were only trying to get into the underworld to rescue Ishtar and Dumuzi. Dumuzi never really liked Ereshkigal anyway, but anyway, bottom line is Ereshkigal is not happy and tries to curse Asushunamir. But Ishtar's like, Asushunamir really helped, so I'm going to bless Asushunamir with magic. And Asushunamir will have a safe place always in my temple. And any non-gender person is always going to have a safe place in my temple. So, in ancient Mesopotamia, they believed that anybody who defied defied the what people think of as the typical genders of man and woman, anyone who defied those genders, they were always held to have some magical ability in ancient Mesopotamia. So I thought that's a pretty cool myth. And I just wanted to share that with you today. I will hopefully have another video out later this month, hopefully next week. And until next time, take care.